Hayley. How you doing?
I'm right, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Good, thanks.
Good. Hello to everyone joining us for episode 22 of A Measure of Marketing, all about starting a business when you have limited marketing skills. And we're joined by the brilliant Kim Ellis, founder of L&D Free Spirits. Hello, Kim. How are you?
Hi, I'm very good. Thank you for having me on.
Pleasure. It's great here.
I feel like we've got a nice little bit of red flowing through us. Like you're starting it off quite strong there, Hayley. Me striping into the red lipstick of Kim there as well. Thank you everyone for joining us. Yes, and thanks Kim for joining us. I'm really excited to chat to you and meet you on this call. So we were just chatting about how Hayley and I have had a bunch of marketing experience, and I think when we started our business, we almost like take that for granted a little bit, that you know it, and to really get into the mind of a business owner who hasn't got that full experience or might not have any at all. Like, what does that feel like to start a business in that way? And just to explore that a little bit more from your angle. We'll have a bunch of questions that come from it as well. So do you want to share a little bit more about your business overall? That would be amazing to start with. I've heard Hayley, but I want to hear more.
Thank you. So there's actually two businesses that I have. So I went self-employed. It's coming up to 8 years ago, 2017, and I set up Go Ginger Learning Solutions as a training consultancy. You know, design, deliver, whatever someone needs. And honestly, my marketing for that was properly bobbins, non-existent. I posted flyers.
The flyers.
Yeah.
On walls or Royal Mail posted?
Posted through the letterbox flyers and expected to get clients. And yeah, so less about that. Don't do that, kids. Don't work. And then, so through networking and all of that kind of stuff, I then set up another business called L&D Free Spirits, which is a membership community for freelancers who work in the L&D space or self-employed, small businesses, however you like to identify, but it was looking at the business skills and that side of things. So the way that I approached marketing for my second business it's like night and day, completely different.
Okay. In what sense? So what do you, going into detail now, what do you do now versus what you didn't do then? And why did you make that decision as well? Like, what was it that made you switch the way that you did marketing?
I think just the experience. I mean, when you first start out as a freelancer or as a small business owner, you don't typically have a lot of cash to throw around at things, but you get sucked in to, do Google ads, do LinkedIn ads, do this, do this, do this. And then it's like a pit of money and you're not seeing any returns. So I think that initially with Go Ginger, I was super, super naive. I didn't have a clue about marketing. I didn't have a clue about online presence. I literally had zero online presence. My LinkedIn network was really, really small. People that I'd worked with previously, but only in 2 companies. So it was super, super small. And I thought putting a single post out there would do the trick. Sending out flyers would do the trick. I knew nothing about algorithms, knew nothing about online marketing principles, funnels, different channels, mailers, none of that stuff. So a lot of the work that I did was through word of mouth, people that I knew or recruiter buddies that I knew. So when I started as a board director for the Learning Network, they actually had a marketing plan because they had a marketing specialist working with them at the time, Hayley Maisie.
Me.
And that's where we met. And that's probably a good 5 years ago. Something like that.
Yeah, easy 2016, 2017, something like that, I think.
So it's, so I met Hayley there and I saw what good marketing actually looks like. What good nurturing of your followers, whether it's social followers or whether it's mailing list followers, what results that can actually turn around for you. So when I set up Free Spirits, it was kind of, I knew what I needed to do with marketing because I'd learned a lot, but I knew that I couldn't do everything alone initially to get the impact that I wanted. I wouldn't physically have enough time unless I was working 24 hours solidly, doing the content, doing the website, doing everything else, building the community and doing the marketing and doing the strategy and doing the branding and. So I knew that I physically couldn't do it. So again, leaned on Hayley, said, hi, do you fancy coming on this journey with me? So it's like the biggest thing that I've learned over the past 8 years is don't think that you can do everything yourself because you'll kill yourself trying. If you can get a specialist in to just lighten the load even a little bit, it can make such a massive difference.
Yeah, and so you mentioned about that cash flow to start with, and I guess that's one of the main things, isn't it? Particularly when you're starting a business or when you're by yourself. So what did that look like to work with Hayley, like in the very, very early days? Because I think you think marketing specialists and you're like, oh my gosh, like grands and grands of money, but you can be super flexible with it. Like, what did that look like for you guys?
I think for me, it was making sure that I was getting what I needed out of Hayley's skills. And also making sure that the business was getting what, so I wanted to learn something as well, and the business side of things. So for me, Hayley's price point, we had a really good discussion about what I needed and to get off, and we had like 6-month contract. So for me, the price of what Hayley could bring as value, it was never a question of, is this too much? Am I going to see a return? Because I knew that initially the return on investment is really hard to prove when you're a brand new business, because you need to build the followers, you need to build the brand awareness, you need to build that side. So the returns for what I got for the past 12 months from Hayley will be evident going forward. So it's, 1 month of marketing isn't going to make a dent. There's so much noise out there, especially if you're in a saturated market. There's so much noise in L&D. So it's something that you play in the long game, and you've got to invest in yourself and invest in your business.
Yeah, such a good perspective. Yeah, what are your thoughts, Hayley? What did you see and notice?
I think it was with any small business, it was Kim really knew her why. You knew your why from the very beginning, what it was all about, how you were helping other people. So that's kind of strategy side. It usually takes a few months. Actually, that process was quite quick. And the journey started about building brand awareness and talking about how Free Spirits helps L&D freelancers. And I think that was the journey for the 6 months, and it still is. It's ongoing. That never stops. I suppose what interests me, if you were to take me out of the equation, if you were speaking to another business owner, Kim, and you do this with L&D Free Spirits, you guide other startups or people who are thinking about going freelance in the L&D space. What are your learnings over the past year in terms of starting the business with marketing? And you say it's not just a one and done flyer drop or a one and done email. What would be, say, the top 3 things that people really need to consider when starting their business? If they've got real limited marketing skills and they need to learn, how can they do that? Where do they need to focus if they haven't got a Hayley or a Kelly or someone else to guide them?
Well, for one, rewatch all of the episodes of A Measure of Marketing.
Can you say that either?
First off, you've got to know who you're talking to. So, like my target audience for L&D Free Spirits is freelancers, self-employed, or small business owners who work in the L&D space. But actually, that's quite a broad market. I'm most helpful for new freelancers or people coming into freelancing. Okay. Based on the content that I've got on the website, based on what I know is coming up, those are the people that I can help the most. So actually, they're my laser focused audience. They're who I need to be speaking to. But the community is for the wider lot. But that's so nail your actual audience. So who do you want? I mean, have a catchy brand, that goes without saying. If if you don't know what you stand for, if you don't know what you look like online, if you don't know your color schemes, please make them like WCAG, contrast checker, and all of that kind of stuff. If you don't know your own identity, you're really going to struggle to make an impact. You're going to struggle to get that instant brand recognition. And so first off, nail your audience, have a strong visual brand, and Hayley's going to love this, strategy. Have a spreadsheet with your strategy. I honestly cannot stress the importance of having a marketing strategy enough. So you've got, I mean, our strategy for Free Spirits, we've got all of the industry events coming up, all of the fun things, like this week is Learning at Work Week. We've got when the newsletter gets published, when the podcast gets published, when we've got member-only events, open to all events. We've got the full email list in there. We've got the full social media list in there for LinkedIn. My Blue Sky and Instagram, I'm ad hoc in it, but it's all coming from that LinkedIn thing. Plus, I've got my own personal LinkedIn, so I can make sure that the people that follow me but don't follow Free Spirits are still being exposed to some of the marketing messages, but I'm more casual with that. It's less company line, but it's like company line, but with a Kim spin.
Yes, yeah.
Even though I'm writing both, it's, you know. So yeah, and before learning tech, which was a couple of weeks ago, if you're watching this in the future, I was 3 weeks ahead in my social media scheduling and email scheduling, fallen off the wagon. Now I'm like 4 days ahead. But if you plan it, I'm planned about 3 months ahead.
Yeah.
So it's a no-brainer. You got to do it.
It is so important, and I think that planning, what it allows you to do is to be able to make decisions, more spontaneous decisions for any opportunities or any collaborations or partnerships, or just to do anything different, because you know what your next 3 months or 6 months looks like. So you're like, yeah, okay, I can fit this in, or I can do that, and you can be agile as you need to be. But I think when you're just working week to week, I think it almost becomes more stressful and more difficult. You feel really under pressure, and you can't see wood for trees. So
one of the things that I hear from freelancers is them saying, oh, well, I don't know what to post on LinkedIn. Like, well, have a bloody planner then. Because if you have a planner, right, I've got my marketing campaigns are mapped out to the end of the year. I know what's coming when, and I can just plan it. Whether or not I stick to that plan, if I get a sudden burst of inspiration, like yesterday I wrote about something else and I was like, okay, well, let's just move this around. If it's in there, you can move it. If it's in there, you know you're not going to forget it. So have a plan, people.
Yeah, definitely. And it's almost, it's getting it out of your head, isn't it? I think if you are a creative or a business owner, there is a lot to do, and you have to put it somewhere so that your mind is free to some degree, so that you can relax and be perform at your best self as well. And yeah, seeing it all down, you step into a different mindset as well, don't you? You feel more like a business owner, and you feel more like a CEO, because you've got a plan, a strategy, etc. And you've got that strategy, it's based off research as well. It's not just plucked out of the air. You've actually spent that time to really consider it as well. So what is now, I guess, what are you seeing the best results from? You've mentioned quite a few channels there. Do you see that anything works specifically well for you? And do you know why? Like, have you dug into that as well?
Blue Sky, has got about half the followers that LinkedIn does. Very little engagement. It's usually just me and Hayley liking things on there and resharing.
Ping pong. Yeah.
LinkedIn, I've only just started posting. It's very, very ad hoc. Like this week, I'm posting every day on Insta for the Learning at Work Week videos that I've done. I use Buffer. So basically, I use the scheduler in LinkedIn, and then when I've posted something, I'll then whip up, because I'm using the same asset, the same visual, the same video, so that then I'll whip up a quick 300 character thing for Buffer, type that in to the, into Blue Sky on the Buffer, and I'll do the Instagram at the same time. So I'm actually posting once, but then I'm scheduling the other two so they happen. So that's a tip. LinkedIn for definite gets me the most views.
Yeah.
I've got about just short of 600 followers. It's 572 this morning, if we want to be specific. And it's been there for a little while. So when you're watching this, actually head over to Free Spirits LinkedIn, give it a like, especially if you're an L&D freelancer. Thanks. And typically I get 100 to 150 impressions, few likes, few comments on a lot of things. Things with faces do better, especially if they're looking at camera, which we know that the algorithm likes that. Videos do okay. So I try to mix up the type of media. So it's not all just photos. I've got some carousels in there, some video. So I find that LinkedIn does well, but actually my MailChimp open rates and click-through rates aren't too shabby.
Nice.
I've got a very low unsubscribe rate.
Nice.
So it's, yeah, I'd say my LinkedIn and MailChimp do the best.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I love that you know your analytics as well.
Oh no, that's Hayley. That's all Hayley.
But you can reel it off, like you do know, like there's, yeah, I think that's important is even when you don't, I guess it's that balance still, isn't it? If you don't know the ins and outs of marketing, it's having that relationship with your marketing specialist or a mentor, or even if you've done a course, to actually keep repeating it and going back to it. So you know that foundational part to it. So if you are asked questions on a podcast, you can answer them. Like you've got that understanding, so you can make them decisions as well. Is really important. Yeah. And so what does the future of marketing look like for you, Kim? Do you plan to try anything different for your business, or do you plan to like upskill yourself in certain areas, or does anything like catch your attention that you want to trial and test or anything like that for L&D?
Well, I do want to try and take more control over, doing the scheduler, getting everything mapped out and having a better understanding of why we're doing the amount of posts that we do for each event, what works when we schedule it a week before we usually would, or a week after. So I want to dig more into why things have the impact that they have when we post them. I want to dig more into the psychology of how you structure the LinkedIn posts, because we know that, you've got to have your hook at the top. The algorithm likes some emojis, but actually screen readers don't like emojis on the posts. So I've been playing with putting them on and not putting them on, and things like that. There's we know that the algo doesn't like to have external links in the post, but if you put it in the comment, it bloody hides the comment unless you switch it to most recent, because it'll automatically go most relevant. So this is the thing, that it's like there's a constant battle against algorithms, and I know I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent, but I want to dig more into that because there's conflicting things. If you do a search on the algorithm, you'll see infographics from 10 different people all saying 10 different things. So I really want to dig in what works, what doesn't, but not just for LinkedIn in general, but for my audience.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that is a battle, isn't it? It's like you can know one week, and then the next week, next month, it might have changed a little bit, and it throws you out a bit more. Like, do you enjoy doing the posting, and like now you feel like you know more about it? Is it like, do you really embrace it and enjoy that? It sounds like you do.
I do, but I don't think I would if I hadn't have worked with Hayley for the past 12 months. And if I was just trying to do it without having all of that knowledge about how the emails are structured, why we're doing things, why we're putting in the links and not just a button, because MailChimp keeps saying, oh, turn your link into a button. No, it's already in there as a button. We want it as a link as well. Thank you very much. So all of these things, I don't think I would feel as confident doing the marketing or enjoy it as much if I hadn't have had Hayley's support. So thank you very much for that. I like doing it. I like making the banners just a little bit cheeky sometimes. On the emails, I like doing the visual side of things, all done in Canva, by the way. I love it. I don't have enough time to spend on it that I would like. But I mean, I like Sunday morning, doing a few social posts, getting them scheduled, doing some graphics. I find it on a Sunday morning, it's quite calming for me because I can then green things up in my schedule and I can see how far ahead I am. And yeah, so I like it. It does stress me out a little bit sometimes when I fall behind, but also I find it calming, which is a complete and utter contradiction. And I do understand that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I answered the question.
Absolutely feel the same with it as well. I think there's that element, isn't there, with marketing? It's like you say, it's understanding your audience, what they actually want, and working towards that and trying to like figure that out as best as possible and testing little things. But then in terms of your flow, finding what fits with you and your lifestyle as well. And that's a constant battle. But I think when you figure that out a little bit more, and then you're able to, if something changes within your business, you're able to like adapt your bit slightly. You've got all of the stats to know what your audience likes. That doesn't change. You just need to work on, okay, I'm a little bit behind here and it makes me feel this way. So let's get back to how I know I like to work. So yeah, I often see that the battle between the knowing of marketing and the amounts versus like, how do I like to work? Because I can't be doing it all of the time. And finding them right days of the week and time of the days and things like that as well.
I think there's also a battle of knowing how much to do. And it's something that I said to Kim and I say to all clients is don't make a rod for your own back. Do what you can do that you can maintain consistency and keep up with. And I think what tends to happen, and I've done this as well with my own marketing, is you start off and you have your set channels and you kind of do this a little bit and you go hell for leather and you can cope. And then all of a sudden you have to do this because you can't keep up with that. And you end up doing this until you find a happy medium, whatever workflow that is, whether it's a Sunday morning of scheduling your posts or doing it ad hoc for a couple of weeks. But you set up, you find a rhythm, you find a way of moving forward that works for you and works for your business. And I think this is one of the things that people think they have to stick with a certain way or stick with a certain approach, and it is about testing and trying. And I think that's what's great with you, Kim, is that you've always been open to doing that and leading in that way as well. Like you're wanting to test and trial the psychology of it and the journeys and the different channels, but equally you're really mindful that there is only so much you can do as one person. You know, as when you are self-employed and it's just you have to manage your time so well And I can't keep up with my own marketing. And so I think, like, well, 2 posts a week is better than nothing. So when you do nothing, that I think it starts to ground you.
I think AI really helps me. So it helps me to structure my posts and make them a little bit more profesh, shall we say? But I do throw in the Yorkshire in there sometimes. But the thing is, I'll write so let's say an event post for LinkedIn. I'll write the post, put it in Word, put it in GPT, see what it thinks. It might throw up a couple of bits here and there to make the hook stronger, to make the call to action stronger, something like that. But then I'll take it back out and I'll tweak it. So it'll bounce around a couple of times. But then once I've got the one that I'm happy with and I've got my visual, then I'll ask GPT, okay, so make this a 300 character thing for Blue Sky. And then I'll say, can you amend it for Instagram and give me the hashtags to use? So using GPT, not to write the things completely, but using it to make my process quicker it's a big time saver. So I can then focus on other marketing things or business things.
Yeah, and that's like leading from where your like strengths are or where you favor as well. Like some people, like they'll say, I like writing a blog, I like writing long form on LinkedIn, but I can't make it succinct for threads or for something shorter. So like absolutely use the tools to allow that to happen for you. Yeah,
I've started to do that with my own marketing, only because in terms of time, I can do it. You can sit there and you can take a blog post and put it into a LinkedIn post or vice versa. But if you can collaborate, and I think that's the word, it's collaboration. It's not getting it to do it for you.
yes, yeah.
It's using it as a collaborative tool to save you time. And it's taken me a while, as I've mentioned before on our episodes, to embrace the Gen AI side of it. But it can really get you ahead. And especially when your brain is that fried from doing other stuff, it can just speed everything up. So I think other small business owners could really take a leaf out of your book, Kim, and embrace ChatGPT. Just have some confidence to dabble and see what it can do.
Yeah. But just don't copy and paste out of GPT into LinkedIn. And because you will get AI bashed from people if you do that, because people are judgy. But it's a tool. Use it.
There's a point now where I guess it's we're not sure who's writing for AI anymore, because maybe everyone is, or maybe like you see so many different things, don't you? But it's a way we need to be writing to express ourselves. Like you have so much skill, so much talent in your industry, Kim, that like you've got to give that out. Like you can't be letting someone else like write that for you, an AI tool. Like you have to do that 80% of input into it. It's just the efficiency part where we're all going to need that help. No. That was great.
Yeah, that was brilliant, Kim. What would be your one takeaway, your one tip for a small business owner? You had to whittle it down.
Okay, my top tip, especially for people who do day rate contracting, do not disappear for 3 months, because the algorithm will punish you and you'll have to start from scratch again. So, as Hayley mentioned, find your rhythm, be consistent, and even if you are at the top of the tree, you are mega busy, use the bloody scheduler. Spend a couple of hours on a weekend, schedule some posts for a couple of weeks. As long as you are posting something, the algorithm will remember you and it will like you and it will reward you and it won't forget you. So when you're out of that contract and you're looking for work again or looking for your next client, you're not going to have to do all of the grunt work and climb out of the gutter, the LinkedIn gutter.
Yes, nicely said. Yeah, so it's
about to hate that LinkedIn algorithm.
Yes, consistent visibility. Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much, Kim.
Thank you, Kim.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, it's been great. So at next episode, we have another Kim on our next episode, which could get confusing. This is my Kim this time, who I've also helped to start a new business with. Also no marketing experience, but she's from a sales background, so that'll be an interesting conversation to see how marketing moves into sales. When does that start? So another good Kim conversation coming up in the next episode.
Until then.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Follow L&D Free Spirits over on LinkedIn and Instagram as well. Give Kim some love, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thanks, Kim. Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.